Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. This is going to be the fire signs reading for the week ahead. So this is going to be on January 18th, but it is a timeless reading. So this could extend as far as the next week, month, or even year into the future, depending on what events come up during the reading. I do want to mention that I do personal readings. Those are available through my website, and I have them available at a few different price points. I also, today is the 18th. I will be doing a live stream show tonight on Twitch of a musical performance, and that is going to be at TVMA Noise. It's my friend's album release party. So, all of you fire signs, if you would, please just relax. Just relax, man. Just relax. No. But seriously, go ahead and take some deep breaths. Oh, it's kind of dark in here. Sorry. There we go. That's a little bit better. Take some deep breaths. Breathe in. And then just kind of sigh out any tension you're carrying, any stress, anything that is kind of bothering you. Allow that to float to the forefront of your mind so we can address it in the reading, but don't fixate on it. Don't focus on it. Don't think about the things about it you dislike. Think about how you would like to address these issues moving forward into the future. And I'm just going to light this pumpkin spice candle and allow the element of fire to gently and efficiently clean the space. Clean the space. Clean the space. So we're going to start with Aries, then Leo, and Sagittarius. Just allow the bright light of the flame, just as it's melting the wax here inside the candle, allow it to melt away anything that is causing tension or stress within you. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. You are doing an awesome job so far. So I'm going to use a couple of different decks this week. Firstly, I will be using this Itala style deck, which is the Book of Thoth deck. Oh, thank you, Captain Holt. It's good to see you this morning. Or afternoon, depending on where you are. These cards have pips, and some of the major arcana are a little bit different. So we can address that when we get there. I am also going to be pulling one one of these Flower Magic Oracle cards for each sign. And I really love this deck because, aside from the artwork being very heavily Art Nouveau and kind of late 90s inspired, the booklet inside gives you instructions for using. Oh, thank you. Yes. I love these decks too, and I had kind of missed using this one with the Flower Magic cards. They tell you how to use the flowers in your magic. And just briefly, I will mention that over in the extended reading, I will be using this very beautiful rainbow moonstone for the crystal scrying. I will occasionally bring crystal scrying back on the main channel, I think, but for the weeklies, I've just been keeping it over there. All right, so we're going to start with the sign of Aries. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle your cards, Aries. So if there's anything that's been stressing you out, oh, that's awesome. I used to be a biologist. Not as much anymore, but I still love science. Oh, geez, Louise. Do you mind if I ask, are you a botanist? I know you mentioned you do controlled burns sometimes too, or that you had. Just kind of relax and take some deep breaths. And definitely stay hydrated if you have water nearby. And as I mentioned earlier, just kind of allow any of the issues that you'd like to address to float to the forefront of your mind. Oh, that's awesome. Ecology is very cool. I've been very excited to be exploring a lot of the parks that are out here in the Los Angeles area. I haven't gotten to Yosemite yet. I almost took, I did take marine biology, but I wanted to do an internship at the Georgia Aquarium for a while, but it seemed not totally aligned with what I really wanted to be doing. So I decided to do micro instead and molecular. But thank you for telling me a little bit about your scientific background. That's really cool. Okay, so now we'll be starting the Aries reading. And it's already exciting. I've been feeling a little congested this morning, so I'm going to try to keep the weird noises to a minimum. But if any slipped through, I apologize. Oh yeah, Cool Hand Drew, I've heard. From my family, they go often. Yeah, I haven't been to the Redwoods yet either. But we did go to Morrow Strand earlier in the last year. It was around summertime. Let's see. Where did I put my notebook? There we go. I promise I'm organized this morning. So the Aries reading. Aries. We're going to start here in the past. We have the Queen of Swords in the reverse. So this Queen of Swords could be showing up in the reverse for you because there was a time where you really needed to speak your truth and you accomplished that and moved on. It could also be that there's been some harsh manipulative behavior in your recent past, Aries. Now, I'm not saying that this is you, but this is somebody maybe that you have encountered, possibly. Somebody who could be quite harsh and possibly manipulative. Situations can be like that too. And it can also be a situation where you feel like you didn't express your truth. You didn't express what you needed to say. So that's also possible. And I want to go ahead and pull this flower magic card before I forget. So for you, Aries, we have geranium, which is about socializing. And what do I need to tell you about geraniums? Geraniums. So this could be an unexpected visit from friends or family. It could be that you just need to get out more and socialize with people. And I understand that with the current climate, it hasn't really been conducive to do that. So a lot of us have kind of holed up and kept to ourselves. You might meet very interesting people. You might even reunite with a lost friend. You could feel welcome in a situation, or you could be making other people feel more comfortable. So as far as the magical applications, pink geraniums are good for love spells. You can add white geranium petals to incense blends for fertility also. Use the petals in spells to help you feel more confident about socializing or to bring more social events your way. So there could have been a time in the past where people were making you feel unwelcome, and that might have been something that caused you to kind of hole up in yourself. That's entirely possible. I also wanted to mention, because I do like the Bach flower essences also, that water violets are also very good for socialization, and they have a Bach flower remedy of water violets that I really love for socializing. So, moving on to the current situation. Aries, your reading is really exciting so far. I apologize. No one really wants an exciting reading, right? You want like a boring reading with like the Sun and the Nine of Cups. We have the Death card coming out, but I feel like the Death card is good. It brings in change and transformation. And this guy looks scary, but look how happy he is. He's dancing and he's smiling. Really nothing to fear. This is crossed by what is in this deck kind of like the World card. So we see this is an agrarian figure. Yeah, I guess that is kind of an Aries thing, huh? We do have the fixed signs here on this card, except for the elephant. I would assume that represents, we've got Taurus and Leo. Maybe the horse is Scorpio and the elephant is Aquarius. Anyway, this is the World card for this deck. This guy is an explorer, but he's an agrarian type explorer. So this would be somebody who wanders, hunter-gathering, things like that. There's very much a connection to the land and the resources therein. So you could be reconnecting with the land, Aries. And that could be a change for you. You could be giving into your wanderlust. And that, of course, would be getting you out to socialize with new people. So that would be exciting. So maybe it's not so bad to have a little excitement in one's reading. Here in the Imam Selah, we have, this is kind of like the Lover's card in the deck. We have here Eve in the Garden of Eden being tempted by the snake. So this card could be about choice. It could also be about giving into temptation. It also can be about your connection to your higher power. Atela, the reason that he called himself that was because of his connection to the higher power. That was a word that he used, Atela, to describe the higher power. And that apple, taking a bite out of the apple, represents that connection to divine. And because in the Garden of Eden, they were already very closely connected to the divine, at that point, when they took a bite of the apple, they were trying to play God. But now that we have become very disconnected from our connection to our higher power, it's good to get closer, if that makes any sense. Here in your perspective, we have this card, which is called the Sky in this deck. And there are a few cards like this that deal with celestial bodies. I don't know that this really has an equivalence. It's kind of like the star card, but not really. So when it's upright, it means grounding, that things are either falling away or they're falling to the earth. And when it's in the reverse, it's possible that it's time for some more lofty aspirations. It's time to reach up, to try to elevate the self, to reach for the sky. Again, we have falling down from the sky, and then we have reaching back up toward the sky. So you could be aspiring to something right now, and that would kind of go together with Eve biting the apple. From an outsider's perspective, we have the Eight of Wands. And this is actually a very, It's a very earthy deck. It's a deck that has a lot to do with a more agrarian culture. And so the caption on the top of this card, I believe, reads something like a picnic in the countryside or something like that, like a day out in the country. The Eight of Wands can be about endings, and this is an ending with resolution. It is a swift ending, and it's not a necessarily painful ending like we see sometimes with the Ten of Swords, right? So people could be seeing this transformation in you. They could be seeing it as an ending. Here in the future, we have the King of Cups. Now he's showing up reversed here. But that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to be dealing with someone who's emotionally manipulative. Sometimes the cards show up in the reverse because there's a potential for something to come into your life, but either you don't see the circumstances for that yet, or it can also be that that the potential exists, but it's going to depend on your own actions as to how it comes into your life. So the King of Cups can be a benefactor. The King of Cups can also be somebody who is a mentor. So this could be somebody who's coming into your life. That can also be the role, Aries, that you might potentially be taking on in the future. Here in the realm of your hopes and fears, we have the Tower card reversed. And of course, when it is upright, we're talking about destruction bringing in growth and change. It is a Mars-aligned card. But where it's in the reverse here, and specifically in this deck, we're kind of talking about being trapped, prison. So Aries, at this time, I do feel very strongly this sense of wanderlust, especially coming in with this particular iteration of the World card. We do have these lofty aspirations showing up for you, which is good. That is a good thing to embrace in your life and to reach out and try to achieve. You know, it's never bad to have goals and dreams, no matter how old you are, no matter how young you are, no matter how much education you have. It's always good to have dreams and aspirations. So here in the midheaven, we're looking at the result of biting the apple. We do have the Nine of Wands here. And this word at the top is in French, I promise. And it could be a signal for you to wait, to kind of regroup. So when we're talking about the Nine of Wands, this can be a very protective energy and trying to guard what you already have. It's not necessarily an active defense, but I think that the result of your actions currently, where we have the aspirations here, that you will reach a point with that where you're regrouping and you're guarding what you already have. The potential is there for growth. The final outcome is a very interesting card because there's not really a lot here about a love reading necessarily. We do have So we do have a couple of people here, if this is a love reading for you, Aries, that we have this Queen of Swords in the past. So this could have been an air sign person. And these people could be showing up reversed just because they're not currently in your life right now. So this could be somebody that you broke up with or you lost contact with. And then the King of Cups in the future. So like the kings and queens kind of talk more about the general energy. So it doesn't have to be necessarily a man or a woman, whoever you might be attracted to. The Queen of Cups would have been somebody who could have been an air sign, could have been very good at communicating their emotions, could have been very good at communicating with you about the truth of situations. And then here in the future, we have the King of Cups. So this would be somebody who's more like a benefactor or a mentor, possibly somebody who's very nurturing in an active way, likes to take you out, likes to pay the rent, things like that. Because we have showing up in the final outcome here the Two of Cups, that the potential is there for a romantic situation in the future. Now, this doesn't have to be necessarily romance either. This could also be the potential for a lifelong friendship, a close emotional bond with another person. And so this is urging you, despite your wanderlust, to really stay in touch with people and socialize, because you do have the potential there for great happiness in your partnerships, your friendships, and even possibly a marriage. And I do think that you're going to be getting to a point where you socialize with quite a few people and you kind of regroup and you figure out which of these people are like your really, really good friends. So typically the Nine of Wands is a card about being guarded, right? But what are they guarding? They're potentially guarding the gates of the city. So this Nine of Wands could also represent like 9 close friends, or 9 very good coworkers or employees or something like that. That it's not a super small group, but it's not a very big group either. So think about it in those terms as well, Aries, and have fun on your trip. So next we will be looking at the sign of Leo. And Leo, again, if you would just relax and take some nice deep breaths. And any tension you're holding on to, kind of roll it out of your neck. As you exhale, just kind of sigh a lot of that tension away. Just let it go. Allow the things that you're concerned about to kind of float around in the forefront of your mind. Don't worry about fixating on them, but have them kind of there at the ready so we can address them in the reading. And you can watch your sun, moon, and rising sign placements. I do these lives 4 days out of the week. They're always sitting there on my channel, waiting for you to discover. Oh, lots of swords and lots of cups. And we will get a flower magic card for you as well, Leo. Oh, the name of this. Yes, Dawn, it was. The first deck that I used, it is called the Book of Thoth. And it is what they call an Atala style deck. So this word right here, if you search for that online, you'll be able to find this deck. I believe Llewellyn just did an edition of this. Oh yeah, I love this deck, and it really opens up a lot of different possibilities as far as reading. And let's see what is the card for Leo today. Ah, interesting. I don't know very much about this flower. It is called the Waigala, which is for discovery. She's got her little bald eagle companion right here. And this is the Flower Magic Oracle cards. Let's see, Waigala. So this is about learning more, studying more, doing more shadow work, not just kind of superficial stuff, but really digging deep. And not being afraid of finding things that disturb you or upset you, but pressing forward. It's kind of a sense of adventure and discovery. And even as I had been talking about in the Aries reading, possibly travel. So when you are working with Waigala in magic, it can help you find new ventures, projects, or abilities. It can also bring new friendships and partnerships. So a very useful flower. It's associated with love, happiness, and all forms of the goddess. Use it to find your inner truth and express yourself. Waigala. Okay. So if you're looking for it later, Waigala. That's how they say. Oh, that's really cool. I love honeysuckle. I bet it smells amazing. And I think I am going to look into it more after the reading. So let's start in the past for you, Leo. We have the Six of Cups in the reverse. The past is the past. Let it go, right? I think that's what that's saying. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know very much about botanical species. I know a bit, but I'm always learning more, I guess is a better way to say it. Yeah, I think really what this card is saying is don't think about the past right now, because the Six of Cups is about the past. And when it's upright, it's the past returning. But if it's showing up in the reverse, in the past, I think what it's inviting you to do is just kind of forget about everything that has come before and focus more about moving into the present and moving into the future. Let me note down my timestamp before I get too distracted. Okay, so don't worry about it. The past is the past. Let's move on. I wonder what that caprifoliaceae means, if it has something to do with the leaves, like the shape of the leaves. Your current situation, Leo, is the Nine of Swords, and it's showing up in the reverse here. So here on this card, it says that there's a justified fighting back against something. When this card, the Nine of Swords, is upright, it can be about stress. It can be about things in your life that give you anxiety. It can be about nightmares, bad dreams, sleepless nights, insomnia. And this is crossed by the Eight of Cups. So in this deck, there could be a blonde woman involved. The Eight of Cups is also, as you know, a card of moving on. So basically what we're getting in the early part of your reading, Leo, is move on, move on, move on. Just keep moving forward. Very interesting reading so far, though. This is a very clear message. Very clear message. Here in the current situation, this is the Imam Silai. So these are going to be the events that lead to what occurs in the midheaven in the future, your destiny. We have the Knight of Cups. So the Knight of Cups can be love rushing into you, or friendship rushing in, connections with people. That's what's represented here by the Nine of Cups, or the Knight of Cups, pardon me. The Knight of Cups can also be somebody who trusts their gut. You listen to your heart and you listen to your gut. And don't worry so much about what the brain has to say. The Knight of Swords isn't here. So you could have a gut feeling about something. And I encourage you at this time that if you feel something truly in your heart and gut, to follow that feeling. Here in your perspective, we have the Four of Pentacles, which is a card about conserving resources, and it's in the reverse. So you could feel like you are not able to save at this time, or you're not doing a very good job of holding on to your resources. That is kind of a perspective thing, and it is good that you're aware of it. But again, so much in your reading is saying, move on, move on, move on. Just don't even worry about that right now. Don't be stressed out about it. And don't even think about the past. So, the outside perspective on your situation. We have the Six of Swords. And the Six of Swords is showing up here in the reverse. So here in this deck, rather than where we see root for the upright meaning, Here in this deck, it's talking more about instead of retreating or instead of leaving a situation, this is about taking a stand. So people might see that about you in this time, that you are taking a stand, that you're not going anywhere. You might be moving on. You might be leaving a situation even, but people will perceive that as you taking a stand. They won't perceive it as a retreat. Here in the future, we have the Two of Swords. And this is showing up in the upright. So this could be a choice that's going to be available to you, Leo. And they also, in this deck, talk about the Two of Swords as being a card of friendship, allyship, that the two of you now are fighting together. So this doesn't necessarily have to be a love relationship, but it could be somebody who is allied to you because they love you very much. Up here in the hopes and fears, we have the Page of Swords, and he's showing up reversed, which can be about spying, can be about also fake news. So, what happens when you're playing telephone? The message gets diluted and perverted. And I think that you're afraid of that happening with things having to do with you, that somebody might observe something from the outside, misconstrue it, and pass on that information as intelligence. I don't see a lot of that occurring here, and again, just move on. And in fact, Leo, don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. Here in the midheaven, so this is going to be the result of trusting your gut. We have the Queen of Wands. Now she's showing up in the reverse, but it's going to be up to you, Leo, as to whether you want to step fully into this Queen of Wands energy or not. So this is it's a feminine energy, but you don't have to be a woman to be a Queen of Wands. This is somebody who's the life of the party. As soon as they show up, everyone knows they're about to have the best time. And I think the potential is there for that to be your energy in the future. But it is going to rely heavily on your sense of adventure, your ability to move on and let things go from the past, and this choice that you end up making. So here in the final outcome, this could be a business trip coming in for you. That's what we have up here. The Three of Cups, and it's showing up in the reverse. This can also be a close-knit friend group. So there's a lot of potential here, a lot of sense of adventure. And really, 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 I have to reinforce to you, Leo, because it looks like there's not a lot of really concrete action going on here. Like I said, there's a lot of cups, which are passive energy, and they flow, right? So the earth is our good grounded energy. The cups are a watery energy. They flow. It's not very obvious how deep they go. It's not very obvious what's beneath the surface, right? So it is all about trusting your gut and trusting your heart. It's about the emotional states. We also have a lot of swords here in your reading, Leo. And swords get a reputation for being very airy-fairy because that is the element with which they are associated. But it's all about ideas. And so really just, I feel like you at this point, this particular time when you're watching this reading, that you already have very strong messages coming to you about what you need to be doing. And you need to trust those. And this is me telling you to trust those. And also to embrace your sense of adventure. So, Leo, thank you for joining me for your reading today. And now we will be moving on to the sign of Sagittarius. Sagittarius, yes. So, Sagittarius, if you would just kind of set your intention for the reading. You can take some deep breaths, breathe nice, healing, divine white light in, and then just kind of sigh out any tension you might be holding, any stress, any anxiety. Just let it go. Just allow any situations that are troubling you, to float gently to the front of your mind. And don't fixate on them. Just let them sit there so that they'll be there when we get ready to address them in the reading. Yes. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to get one of these flower magic cards for you, Sagittarius. And I'm really glad that I pulled these out again. I love working with these cards. And as I mentioned in the water signs reading yesterday, I'm kind of picky about my oracle decks. All right. This one? Yeah, I think so. Oh, interesting. Yeah, we'll see today, won't we? So, the flower magic card that I have pulled for you, it wasn't the card on the top of the deck. It was, as I was shuffling, one of the cards kind of stuck out. And it was like, pick me. And I did. And it was opportunity. So, this being a cosmos flower and a card of opportunity. We have owls here too, so it could have to do a bit with knowledge. But seizing opportunity, seeing opportunity when it presents itself. So let's see. The whole world and more lie at your feet, ready for you to explore. Are your options too overwhelming? Do you have too many choices? The cosmos is the universe seen as a well-ordered whole, and that's what you're striving for. So keep that in mind. So think it through. That's why they have the owl on the card. They want you to think things through. Look down on your universe from up high and lay it all out like a map before you. So this is very much like Two of Wands energy also. We don't have Two of Wands here in your reading. That doesn't matter. We do in this form. So what do you need to do to bring order into the chaos? And that is what is going to make everything line up for you. So how can you use cosmos flowers in your magic? It's all in the name. This plant can provide you with anything in the entire cosmos. Use this flower in incense blends or spell pouches to invite opportunities. Use it in any magical workings to help you gain insight and clarity. It can help you focus on what you want or need and brings you inspiration to move forward. And it's at your doorstep ready for the taking. It can, of course, then also help you bring order to the chaos. So that's a very beautiful sentiment. I like that a lot. Here in the past, we have, this is kind of like the Hierophant card in this deck. And in the upright, it's marriage. In the reverse, it still means union. So there could have been something in the past, like you could have gotten married. And so now you are married, or perhaps the marriage didn't last. But the important part is this coming together in the past. It could have been a marriage. This can also be a business partnership. But it would have been a religious or business contract between two people, mitigated by this third person represented by the priest. So could have been a marriage, and I'm not really getting a strong sense yet as to whether this would be a marriage that is intact at this time or a business contract that is still active. So let's keep going. We've got here in the current situation, we have the Page of Cups, and this card is showing up in the reverse. Now, here on this card, they're talking about leaning. So it could be that you're leaning towards something. It could be something is leaning towards you. The Page of Cups is about an offer being made. Sometimes it is sometimes it's a business offer. Sometimes it's an offer of love. And because the card is in the reverse, it could be that you've been waiting for an offer to be made. And then you would be leaning towards it. You could also be the one making that offer. So that's why that card could be showing up reversed like that. Crossing that card, we have the Five of Wands. And in this deck, that is gold. So there could be money involved. It could be part of a, oh, that's wonderful, Dawn. Congratulations. It could be that there's money involved in this offer. It could also be because the Five of Wands has to do with rivalries that kind of train us, sparring. It's kind of like competition. So it could be joining a group that would advance you professionally also. Here in the Imam Silai, we have the Justice card showing up in the reverse. So this is, of course, upright justice. And in this deck, in the reverse, they're talking about like the letter of the law. So this could be a situation where you had some kind of technicality, some kind of red tape that needs to be dealt with also, so that the justice of the matter would be for everything to have been very smooth going. But that if we have this showing up reversed, that there might be some kind of red tape involved. Not necessarily that there will be a miscarriage of justice or that there will be an injustice. From your perspective, we have the 3. Oh, that's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. Congratulations, Captain Holtz. Your perspective is the 3 of Pentacles and it's reversed. So here they say enfant, that you feel like maybe you don't have the experience that you need for something, or that maybe your experience wouldn't be equivalent to someone else's. But that's just your perspective, and it's a reading. So from an outsider's perspective, we have this card about the fish and the birds. So this is kind of about the natural order of things. It's a lot like this card, actually, right? So where we have this card showing up in the upright, the natural order of the birds and the fish, that's going to be help. So people are either eager to help you because they see that you have everything in order. This is a little bit like the Emperor card in this deck. And I know it doesn't seem like it would be that way, but it has to do with divine order, and that's what aligns it with the Emperor card. And it is very much like the Flower Magic Oracle card that you got. And trusting the divine order of the universe. So the future. We have the 5 of Cups. And this card is in the upright. So the potential is there for possible setbacks. But again, I feel like it's more like this kind of thing where it's like cutting through red tape. And it's just kind of getting everything sorted out. One thing that they're mentioning here on this card is heritage, like provenance. So back when we were in more like well-defined class systems, like what class you were born into had a lot of bearing on your life. Now, fortunately, we've gotten away from a lot of that. But one thing that this card talks about is the advantages that are brought to you by your parents, and then the advantages that are brought to you by your provenance, your heritage. So there could be something to do with any of those things that they talk about in the Equal Employment Act. So just be kind of aware of those things. And this does seem very much like a job reading, and a couple of you have said things to that effect in the chat. But this could also be, we have this Five of Wands here. So where we have the Five of Cups coming in the future, if this is an organization that you are joining for any number of reasons, whether it's a job, a club, an exclusive society or something, it could be that there is something to do with your religion, race, sex, creed, national orientation, whatever. Here in the hopes and fears, we have the Devil card. So when this is upright, it is force majeure. And when it's in the reverse, it is force majeure. I hope I said that right. It sounds like another word also. But that a lot of your troubles you have overcome. And so in order to move forward from here, there's going to be a little bit of effort needed, but not very much. And that's what you're hoping for. Here in the midheaven, so this is going to be the result of cutting through this red tape. If you're able to stick with it, we have the ebb and flow of finances showing up here with the Six of Pentacles. So it could be a gift of money if it's upright. We have it showing up in the reverse, but it's in the future. So this has to do with your ambition. So very much talking about potential energies, potential money coming in for you in the future. And the final outcome for your reading today, Sagittarius. And before all of you leave, I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today. It really has been a pleasure. We have the 10 of Wands showing up for you in the final outcome position. So the 10 of Wands can be a card of burdens and oppression. And here where it's showing up in the reverse, we're talking about obstacles, but we could also be very well talking about obstacles overcome. I really think that I do see some stumbling blocks along the way. But this is not something that is going to break the situation. All of these things might seem kind of insurmountable at the time, but I really see more the potential for this to be a good job and to bring in money for you. Just that be prepared for these things, I think, is more the gist of the reading. And very much keeping this energy, the cosmos, that this will be an opportunity, and really keep that in your mind. And that will help you to kind of like push through any of these boundaries that are kind of being put in your way, because I don't see any of them being like that major. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate your support. I will be going now over to the member side of the channel for the extended crystal scrying. And until